Hi there, welcome to another edition of Jamaica Magazine. I'm Adrian Atkinson. In today's show, we'll explore Jamaica's culinary delights on a gastronomic trail, plus a look at all you should know about game reserves. And later, in our HealthWise feature, we'll examine the eye disease glaucoma and how to treat with this condition. Sit back and relax. With these and more to come as we turn the pages of Jamaica Magazine.
Let's get a little breeze on this land. All right. Now let's get some bounce in the rhythm. All right. Let's get some fire on our hearts. Now that is what we call all right. Run, come, get some Jamaica.
We all need food to stay alive. The good tasted dishes are relished by food enthusiasts that spend big to satisfy their taste buds on their travels around the world. The Jamaican government recognizes the revenue potential simmering in the tourism gastronomy subsector and has embarked on a delicious venture. On the menu, the Blue and John Crow Mountain Culinary Tour. Let's take a look.
Imagine a tour on which you'll eat till you're full, dining against the backdrop of the blue hues of the mountains, sipping authentic Blue Mountain coffee. Sounds appealing? Then you must, if only once, venture on the Jamaica Blue Mountain Culinary Trail. The Ministry of Tourism has embarked on a gastronomic mission to promote Jamaica as a culinary destination. This is the main aim of the Gastronomy Network, one of 5 networks established recently by the ministry. The first product of the Gastronomy Network was the implementation of the Jamaica Blue Mountain Culinary Trail. This is a tour of eateries and attractions nestled within the UNESCO-designated World Heritage Site of Jamaica's Blue Mountains. Whether you take the Eastern or Western Trail, you'll have access to at least 15 participating venues.
Gastronomy, or food tourism, as people commonly refer to it across the world, represents 88% of the reason that people travel. Therefore, will be responsive to the palates of the world. What we have to do is to prepare it a little differently, present it a little more appealing, and to move it from basic street food to the highest level of gourmet.
Wet the palate with hors d'oeuvres, dip into Strawberry Hill Restaurant's coffee ice cream, or drink coffee at a more than a century-old farm.
From Colombia, we also say Colombia's coffee is really good and we're really proud about it. So it was really interesting to hear the Jamaican perspective of their own coffee. The coffee was delicious and it's really amazing to be able to have a cup of coffee, look into the mountains and just like enjoy. So the coffee was definitely the highlight for me today.
Jamaicans talk about how great our coffee is, but I don't think we have any idea why. And that's what I learned today. It was phenomenal.
Vegetarians, meat lovers, those into traditional cuisine, or Jamaican fusion meals, there's a bite for every appetite. The Jamaica Blue Mountain Culinary Trail provides a getaway for nature buffs and foodies, wrapped up in one journey. The tour stops at about 4 restaurants, each boasting a historic or cultural backdrop. After dining, there lies an opportunity to walk off the food with the Akampong Maroon drummers.
Is to preserve the integrity and uniqueness of the region. The beauty, diversity, and sheer magnificence of the region is unparalleled.
The Ministry of Tourism has identified gastronomy tourism as a medium for diversifying destination Jamaica. Through the Tourism Linkages Network, the Gastronomy Network is offering locals and visitors a tasty treat of the Jamaica Blue Mountains. To plan your own food trail inside the mountains, contact the Gastronomy Network. They're located at the Jamaica Tourism Center, 64 Knutsford Boulevard, New Kingston, or call them at 920-4926-30.
Protect Jamaica, plant your grass. Help us become more resilient to climate change impacts. Protect Jamaica, plant a tree. It improves the island's national biodiversity. Trees may be fruit, ornamental, or timber, but must be native or suitable to the area's natural landscape. Join the Jamaica Million Tree campaign and help to plant 1 million trees by June 30, 2019. This is a call to action by the National Environment and Planning Agency.
Game reserves, areas of land where hunting of wild animals is prohibited or allowed in a controlled way, are created to protect ecosystems and allow existing wildlife to thrive. We'll learn more on these areas and how they are used in this next feature.
Here, birds are at rest. Wild animals make their home. The inquisitive eye gets its full share of rich colors, and at times, man and animal venture into a game of hide and seek.
A game reserve is a protected area of land where birds are with part of their habitat where they would nest and so on, and it's not legal to shoot in those areas.
A game reserve is an area that the birds do their nesting.
A game reserve is a place where the birds them live there.
It's where people hunt birds and things like that. I don't remember anymore.
A game reserve is a place that I can't go. You're not allowed to shoot there, you're not allowed to fish there, you're not allowed to do anything to destroy the environment there.
A game reserve is a parcel of land or body of water or an area comprising both land and water within which the hunting of birds or any other animals is strictly prohibited. It's also illegal to bring into these game reserves any weapons or dogs for hunting or even to take the nest of a bird.
In Jamaica, game reserves are monitored by the National Environment and Planning Agency.
Game reserves are like a refuge for game birds in particular, where they can escape all the hunting activities that are occurring on the island. They're also good roosting areas and breeding areas for these birds. In addition, some of these areas are also areas where a lot of endangered birds are, and we actually don't want any hunting activities in there in case there is accidental or illegal hunting of these birds. A lot of these game reserves do have many other species there. Another endangered species that's come to mind when we speak of wetlands, for example, is the endangered American crocodile. And we know a lot of people have some fear of the crocodile, and we just don't want that human-crocodile interactions because the crocodile always comes out on the losing end. So it's always good to ensure that these areas are no shooting areas, no hunting areas.
Forest reserves are also considered game reserves as well.
There are 19 game reserves across the island, and we are currently at the Amity Hall and Goat Island Game Reserves, and this one in particular is a little interesting in that it's the only game reserve that incorporates both land and a body of water. Over here is actually a part of the game reserve, and in the background there, that's the Great Goat Island, and so between the mainland here and the Great Goat Island, this body of water is also a no shooting area.
So other than this, where are the other game reserves located on the island? There is the Great Morass Game Reserve in Holland Bay, St. Thomas. In St. Catherine, the Portmore and Greater Portmore and Cabaretta Point Game Reserves. In Clarendon, the Long Island, West Harbour Peak Bay and Mason River Savannah Game Reserves. Bordering on Clarendon and Manchester is the Alligator Pond, Gut River and Canoe Valley Game Reserves. Also in Manchester is the Reigate Game Reserve. Over in St. Elizabeth, there is the Black River Upper and Lower Morass Game Reserves, as well as the Parratee, Great Morass and Stanmore Hill Game Reserves. Bordering on Westmoreland and Hanover in Negril, there is the Great Morass Game Reserve. In Montego Bay, St. James, there is the Bogue Lagoon Creek Game Reserve, while over in the west, in the parish of Trelawney, is the Glistening Waters Game Reserve. Portland is home to the Ferry Hill Port Antonio Game Reserve, while St. Anne, Jamaica's Garden Parish, has the Knapdale Game Reserves. There is also the Kingston and St. Andrew Game Reserves.
On our NEPA website, for example, you can actually find maps of all these game reserves, and it's important for persons to know exactly where they are, because sometimes people would create new tracks and there won't be a sign necessarily at that new track. So it's important to know exactly where you are.
You're not allowed to hunt there, and if I was to go in there with my weapon to hunt and you found me, I could go to jail, so I won't go in there.
No shooting zone, you can't shoot there. If NEPA catch you, you go to jail.
That's right. These hunters know the law well, which declares that any person found in a game reserve in possession of any animal, bird, bird's eggs, or nests will be presumed to be in violation of the Wildlife Protection Act. This can attract a maximum fine of $100,000, 12 months imprisonment, or both, if convicted by a resident magistrate.
So for each game reserve, there is actually a buffer around the game reserve of 50 meters. So persons are required to observe a 50-meter zone around each game reserve where no hunting is allowed or no trapping of birds or animals is allowed. We are along the edge of the Amity Hall and Goat Islands Game Reserve, and this is actually the boundary, one of the boundary lines, this canal right here. And so no hunting is allowed within 50 meters of this canal, and everything over here is actually a part of the game reserve where no hunting is allowed.
There are signs at the entrance to game reserves. Identifying one is an easy feat. For more information on game reserves, contact the National Environment and Planning Agency at 754-7540 or visit their website at nepa.gov.jm.
Conjunctivitis, otherwise known as pink eye, is caused by viruses which enter the eye through contaminated surfaces such as your hand, wash rags, cosmetics, handkerchiefs, contact lenses, and other personal items. Symptoms include redness, watery, itchy, and/or burning eyes, as well as hypersensitivity to light and grainy feeling in the eyes. To prevent pink eye infection, do not share makeup, eye drops, wash rags, towels, or pillowcases. Also, avoid coming into contact with persons with pink eye. If you experience symptoms of pink eye, wash your hands with soap and water regularly. Avoid rubbing the eyes and see your doctor. Do not attend school, work, or other crowded places until the infection clears up. For more information, visit the Ministry of Health website, moh.gov.jm.
If you're watching the JIS, you're always in the know when it comes to government information. Keep watching, keep informed, and tell your friends. JIS, your #1 source for government info.
Getting your eyes checked yearly can help early detection of eye diseases such as glaucoma, which is the leading cause of blindness in Jamaica. Early detection allows for the best treatment outcomes. Learn more in this next feature.
Got up one morning, went through my gate, and when I look on the street where I was living, I see the place get foggy. You know, like it's pure smoke. And I called to my wife, I said, Edith, I can't see clearly. The place looks foggy and smoky.
That is glaucoma, the leading cause of irreversible blindness across the world. It slowly creeps on you without warning or symptoms. Permanent damage to the eye is happening, but there is no pain and no pus. Vision seems normal and patients are going blind and do not even know it.
You're totally unaware of what's happening. When you're aware, it's very advanced.
Ophthalmologists say glaucoma is a group of eye conditions that damage the optic nerve, that is, the nerve that carries visual information from the eye to the brain. According to consultant ophthalmologist at the University Hospital of the West Indies, Dr. Donovan Calder, almost half of the persons with glaucoma may not know that they have the disease. The reason? Glaucoma initially causes no symptoms, and the subsequent loss of side vision, called peripheral vision, is usually not recognized at the early stages of the disease. There are 4 major types of glaucoma: open angle, close angle, secondary glaucoma, and congenital glaucoma, which is present at birth in newborn babies. Ophthalmologists say not all types of glaucoma are common in Jamaica.
The open angle type, it's very common. It's actually the 3rd leading cause of blindness worldwide, and it's pretty common here. And it's the leading cause of irreversible blindness. As you know, in cataracts we can operate and you make you see again. In some case of diabetic retinopathy and so on, we can treat you and it improves. In the case of glaucoma, once you have lost optic nerve, that's it.
It is important to know that everyone is at risk for glaucoma, but certain groups of people are at a much higher risk. Those include persons who are over 45 years of age, have a family history of glaucoma, belong to the black race, are diabetic, have a history of serious eye injury, are taking steroid medications, have high blood pressure, or who are nearsighted or farsighted. If you fall into one of the high-risk groups, make sure to have your eyes examined more frequently by your eye doctor.
I was about 59 when I realized that my eyes is getting dim. My sight is getting bad, you know. So I had to went to the public hospital and check it out.
One should think of it as something that you should always be screening for throughout life. So at some point, as a youngster, you should have your eyes checked. Once you don't have any of these risk factors and you're free, then you can postpone further examinations, say, biannually. But once you're close to 40, you should have an annual check, and particularly if you have a family history.
One of the dangers of glaucoma is that the cause is unknown, and at present there is no cure. Vision lost from the disease cannot be restored.
But it can certainly be managed and controlled, and in the majority of persons, if managed properly, should be able to preserve their sight for life.
Early detection and treatment before it causes major vision loss is the best way to control glaucoma.
We can detect it early and we can prevent progression of glaucoma, or at least we can slow it down so that you have vision throughout your natural life. We do this by using drugs, by surgery.
Doctors say if you have glaucoma, you will not go blind if you take your medication correctly and regularly, and make sure to follow up with your doctor.
I can tell the whole Jamaica and the world that having glaucoma, that's not the end of life. Because if you get the good treatment, as my doctor treating me, they will see again. I didn't have any problem because I still go to the studio and work, and I go on tour.
Everybody should be aware of this disease and that it's treatable, and that the treatment you need is available here in Jamaica. You don't have to wait to go away. Don't be scared of glaucoma, and remember, the whole diagnosis and management of glaucoma is something in evolution.
Remember that early detection of glaucoma is the key for successful treatment and prevention of blindness. So for further information, consult your ophthalmologist. You can also get useful advice from any government hospital or clinic close to you.
On the board this week, past students of the Kingston Town All-Age School in St. Catherine are invited to attend a very important meeting on Sunday, August 20. The meeting will be held at 4:30 p.m. on the school grounds. It will allow for the selection of a steering committee. The Ensom City Gospel Chapel will be having its Festival of Praise on Saturday, August 26. It will be held at the church, Lot 1, Eltham Farms, Garden Pen, Spanish Town, St. Catherine. Starting time is 6 p.m. Come hear the Olivet Singers, Elim Gospel Chapel Singers, God's Next Generation, and the Melody Singers. Admission is free. The Electoral Office of Jamaica, EOJ, wishes to advise the public that elector registration identification cards for electors added to the May 31, 2017 voters list are now available. ID cards must be collected by electors at their respective EOJ constituency office. All current elector registration cards are valid until December 31, 2017. The ECJ will commence a house-to-house enumeration exercise this financial year to create a new voters list and new cards. And that's all for our community notices today. Send us your events for broadcast on the JIS Community Notice Board. Call 922-868-022 or send an email to cbishop@jis.gov.jm.
Anonymously report allegations of corruption, bribery, fraud, or acts of malfeasance. Help the Revenue Protection Division, RPD, secure the government's revenue. To help, citizens may call the Revenue Protection Division at 1-888-225-5773 or Crime Stop at 311. The RPD, partnering with you, securing the public purse for growth and development.
And now we turn the page to some of the stories making news this week.
Hi there, I'm Simone Wolf with your JIS News of the Week. Bank of Jamaica Governor Brian Winter this week reported that the country recorded its 10th consecutive quarter of economic growth for the period ending June 2017, bringing overall growth for the 2016-2017 fiscal year to 1.3%.
This was higher than the 0.2% in 2014-15 and the 1.0% in 2015-16 that we've seen. So we're seeing a continuing improvement in the growth path, albeit still modest, not as strong as we would like, but it's a consistent picture.
Residents from the communities of Breadnut and Rosewell in Clarendon have become the recipients of piped water to their homes for the first time in 30 years. This after the Rosewell Water Supply Project was officially commissioned into service last Friday at the Rosewell Primary School. At the function, Prime Minister Andrew Holness said other measures for water delivery were being explored.
The government is looking at mainstreaming and putting in place a legislation to support rainwater harvesting as an efficient means of providing water in fulfillment of the acknowledgement that water is a human right for every citizen.
The Ministry of National Security and the Jamaica Constabulary Force have forged relations with the University of the West Indies to advance the training of new police recruits. The provision of training project will see the UII training 300 recruits every 6 months for 3 years. The university will also provide housing for the recruits at the Mona campus and reconfigure lecture rooms to accommodate the training in crime scene investigation and forensics, human rights issues, and general security. Final year social work students are also to go out with the police in communities to assist with social intervention strategies. Security Minister Robert Montego says the partnership is game-changing.
Because you have 300 trainee police officers and they have to learn patrolling, the best place to patrol is on the university grounds. But the involvement of the social science students into our community-based policing unit is also a game changer, and everybody will benefit.
The country's Chief National Security Advisor, Major General Anthony Anderson, is giving an assurance that the use of excessive force by security officers will not occur in the zones of special operation. At the same time, he is urging citizens to cooperate with the security forces as they seek to restore order.
If they ask for your identification, it's because they're trying to ascertain that you're not one of the people
Separate
there
you
are,
from
they
the
want to
people who are-
separate you.
who are threatening
right?
you, yes.
Because, you know, too often criminal organizations and communities get conflated into one thing. And so an action against a criminal is action against a community when it's not.
The Child Development Agency, the CDA, has launched a case management system to more efficiently track cases of children in state care.
The CCMS, as we call it, brings everything our social workers need to do into one place. It reminds them of tasks to complete, the needs of our children and families, and the reports that are coming due. So it has a capability to alert our supervisors, for example, if a child has not been served for a period.
Minister of Health Dr. Christopher Tufton says he will be making further decisions once in receipt of a final report into the circumstances which led to construction work being done on a pediatric ward at the Savannah Lamar Hospital while occupied. Dr. Tufton says a preliminary report revealed that there was a breakdown in protocol.
It is just not appropriate to have patients around, in this case kids who are in recovery mode, with workmen doing work in the facility. And I think when we make errors, we must admit that those errors have been made, and we must do what is necessary to take corrective action. We did that in the early stages by stopping the work and taking the action that was required. However, we have to ensure also that it doesn't reoccur in the future. So the report that I have requested will outline systems and procedures that are to be put in place to avoid this from recurring.
And finally, a new 16-station community access point has been opened in Anata Bay, St. Mary, giving residents access to internet and a variety of computer-related services. The Universal Service Fund spent $3.5 million to outfit the facility with new desktop computers, internet broadband service, a printer, projector, air conditioning units, and electrical upgrading. And those were some of the stories making news this week. I'm Simone Wolf.
And that brings us to the end of today's edition of Jamaica Magazine. Join us again tomorrow when we'll do this all over again. Until then, you can click online at jis.gov.jm and visit our YouTube channel to get the latest government information. Also follow us on Twitter and Facebook and download our app from the Google Play Store to stay informed. I am Adrian Atkinson, wishing for you peace and prosperity. Take care of your health, exercise, eat well, get adequate rest, and to make every day a productive one.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.